Hello my dear friends and welcome to my channel. My name is Barbara and today we're going to be looking at Mercury in the 9th house. I'm very excited to get into this video. This video is for you if you do have this placement. If you're a cross watcher, welcome as well. This is going to be for the Western tropical system. Also, we're going to be looking at what Mercury means, then we're going to be looking at what the 9th house means, and then we're going to put it all together. So Mercury deals with our intellect. It deals with how we communicate. It deals with how we communicate our thoughts. It also deals with the area in life where you guys are going to be looking for the most amount of intellectual stimulation in. Keep in mind, Mercury is ruled by Gemini. The houses are going to be the area of life. So for you guys, the area of life where you guys are going to constantly be looking for that intellectual stimulation is going to be the 9th house. The 9th house is ruled by Sagittarius and Jupiter. So this is all about the higher mind, the philosophical mind, higher learning, travel, long distance travel, meeting people abroad, foreign languages, foreign countries. You can also deal with higher education. Now, the 9th house can go on two different ranges. Either when you have Mercury in the 9th house, you guys are going to have that affinity for education. You guys are going to love academia. You're going to love the educational system. You're going to constantly want to be learning, almost like being a lifelong student. What I find tends to happen a lot of the time with that 9th house Sagittarian energy is they always go off, learn something, and this is usually over an extended period of time. They learn something, they create some sort of new belief system for themselves, and then they come back and teach. So you guys are going to be very, very good teachers. You guys are going to very much have that fiery speech. It could even fall into the energy of being a little bit too preachy. Keep this in mind. Because it is a fire house, the 9th house, you guys are going to be very much convincing with what it is that you guys say because you guys are going to have that confidence. That's just what it is when you have that fire energy. You guys are going to find something that you're passionate about and just speak with such passion. And this is important to understand because, again, people are going to probably believe whatever it is that you guys say. Like, you guys can even be selling ice cubes to people and make it seem like it's the most interesting thing. And there's so many facts you guys learn about it. And there's all these nutrients, right? And then even though it's just water. So this is kind of the energy with that 9th house energy. It's like you guys hold this like power almost where it's like people are going to listen to whatever you guys are saying because you guys have that intellect. Whatever you guys are saying, it's going to sound interesting. It's going to sound very much educational and like you guys know what you're talking about. So it's kind of like be careful with what it is that you guys are explaining to people or teaching people. Make sure that it is something where you guys do have like the backup facts and all these sorts of things because it can very quickly fall into almost like a cult-like energy. It really can because of the fact that, again, people are going to listen. People are going to follow you. They're going to believe whatever it is that you guys are saying. There's a passion in terms of how you guys are expressing your speech. Another thing that I do want to mention is I find that Sagittarius energy can be very funny. You guys can be very witty also in terms of your speech. So again, you guys can charm the audience. Sagittarius does bounce off of Gemini. Keep that in mind because you guys are highly intellectual already. That 9th house, you have Mercury in here. So it's like double of that intellectual energy. So it's like you guys are going to find a way to say things to people. You know what I mean? Get these people to like you. Get these people to basically look at what it is that you guys are trying to sell them. And like I mentioned, it can literally be like ice cubes. People are going to be like, wow, it's like the best thing ever. Like I need to buy that product, like whatever it is. But that's the thing. So it can really go two ways. Either you guys go off and do the traditional route. You guys do the master's, PhD, lifelong students, and then eventually you guys become a professor of some sort. Or more often than not, what tends to happen with this house and the people who do have this energy in their natal charts, they go off and learn something. They go off and experience something. They go off travel, learn from other people, learn from experience, learn from their own experiences, learn from people's stories, these types of things. And then you guys kind of build this belief system for yourselves from a young age because, again, Mercury does deal with the intellectual stimulation. You guys are always going to be asking yourselves these deep philosophical questions. Why am I here? What am I here to do? And it's like you're always going to need stimulation in this area. So you guys are always going to be learning something. Whether you guys are in school or whether you guys are self-teaching yourselves or whether you guys are teaching yourselves from YouTube videos like this, you guys are always learning something and you guys just have a plethora of knowledge. Like you guys just know so much about everything, you know, because it's like you learn something and you're like, okay, what's the next thing? You know, what's the next thing I can learn? So you guys are going to be the types of people that are on such a range. You guys are going to know things from philosophy to spirituality to religion even, because it does deal with religion. It can even go to things like banking and stocks and such a huge range. People are going to be like, how do you know that? And it's like, you guys are just interested. You guys just need to be constantly stimulated. And you're not the types of people who are going to waste your time on conversations where you're not learning something. You know what I mean? It can even be learning from someone's life. You know, why did you experience that? How did that go? These types of things. So you guys are always learning. When you have Mercury in the 9th house, you're a lifelong learner, and then you go off and teach whatever it is that you guys learned, whatever belief system it is that you guys created for yourselves. because that's the thing here. It's like you guys can go two ways. When you guys were growing up, maybe there's a huge belief system that was imposed on you guys and you guys broke out of that and you went off and learned some sort of new belief system, or maybe there was nothing. There was no fundamental belief system when you guys were growing up in terms of your home and your family, and you guys went off again and learned something and created some sort of new belief system for yourself, some sort of new foundation. But important not to fall into the extreme. It's kind of like when you guys do believe something and you guys do create that belief system for yourselves finally, right? Whatever resonates with you. Like I said, you guys can become very preachy. You guys can even become very dogmatic, where it's like everyone has to believe what it is that I believe. You guys feel like it's the best thing ever. But that's the whole thing. So it's a really, really good placement to have, even if you want to learn other languages. You know, you guys are probably going to be very good at grasping different languages, but I feel like you guys would probably learn best if you guys are in that actual country where you guys are learning that language. So like, let's say you guys go off to teach English in Korea. While you're there, you guys learn Korean, you know, because you're there, you're learning from the people. I feel like it's a very interactive house almost, where it's like you guys, you know, want to learn again through experiences. If you're not taking the traditional route, it can definitely be a very favorable house for people who do want to experience things like higher education, academia, things like master's, PhD, all these sorts of things, maybe even having like 3-4 degrees. Like, I'm sure people who have a lot of degrees do have Mercury in the 9th house, because again, you guys need that stimulation in that area. And it's almost like when you learn it, you're like, okay, what's next? You guys always want to learn the next thing, and then you guys go off teach, and then you learn something new, and then you come back and then you teach that. A lot of the time you're going to find coaches, mentors, like people who really want to motivate others with this house. Because it's like, again, you guys learn something through your experience and you're like, this is the best thing ever. Everyone has to learn. I want to help everyone. I want to coach everyone. I want to guide everyone. The 9th house is Sagittarius / Jupiter energy, where it's like, it's the philosopher, you know, it's like half up in the clouds and it's half on the earth plane. That's another thing to keep in mind too, in terms of the way that you guys think. You're always going to be thinking, you know, outside of the box, things that aren't really, again, maybe not everyday people ask these types of questions, like, why am I here? What am I here to do? What is my purpose? Like, these deeper questions in life. You might notice, even if you have a child with Mercury in the 9th house, they might ask you this from a young age, or if when you guys were children yourselves, you guys might have asked your parents these types of questions, because again, it's the deeper philosophical questions of life. And you guys set off on a quest to basically answer these things for yourselves. You're always on this quest. That's the thing with that 9th house energy. It's always going off. It's always learning something. And again, you have Mercury in here. So you guys are always going to need that constant mental stimulation in this area. So that's really what it is in terms of how you guys think, in terms of how you guys communicate. You're always going to be learning, a lifelong student, but also teaching what it is that you guys learned. And it's like, you guys can change even your belief systems. That's another thing that can happen too. It's like you can believe something like really, really strongly. And then again, because it's mutable energy, that 9th house, right? So it's like you believe it, you teach it, and then it's like, okay, actually, no, now I can switch. And then it's like you guys find something else that resonates with you and you switch up and you're like, no, this is my new belief system. This is really the area. It deals with philosophy, religion, like I mentioned, foreign languages, foreign cultures, traveling, all these sorts of things. So very, very interesting placement to have your Mercury in, because like I said, Mercury is going to be the area where you guys are going to need that constant intellectual stimulation for you guys. It's the 9th house, which really does deal with all these things: foreign lands, foreign affairs, traveling, meeting different people, learning constantly, philosophies, religions, all these types of things. So my dear friends, I'm going to wrap up this video here. I do hope that you guys did enjoy my video on Mercury in the 9th house. If you did, please do like, share, and subscribe, and I hope you all have a beautiful rest of the day.